Yeah.
Facebook. Let's mute the site. And there it is. We are live. So welcome everybody. We'll be getting started in about 3 minutes. If you're watching on the replay and you really have to get to the start of the show, just jump ahead 3 minutes and the show will be starting. We have Mike Allton hanging out with us and Dr. Aikyna Finch. We're going to talk to Mike about Agorapulse. We're going to talk to Aikyna about the Social Power Summit. And then after that, we're going to talk to Geige Vandentop all about the StreamYard app, which we are actually using to live stream. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do a little post show over on my YouTube channel, the Livestream Universe YouTube channel. We'll throw that link in the chat as we go along. But great to see Lenny Basterman's here. Devontae, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining. Geige will be along in a bit. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm going to share this quickly to my personal profile. And it always offers up a page that I haven't used in like 3 years. With all the options.
About that, didn't we?
They have a lot of data on me. They probably could predict where the share's going better of the like 6 options that come up.
Yeah, you'd think. This is pretty cool. I think this is probably only the second time I've been on a StreamYard broadcast.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so it's interesting to see the back end.
It's nice. I think it's pretty high quality, the audio and the video. Even as you add, like, the 3 of us are talking, it's not coming, the sound isn't coming in and out or anything like that.
Yeah, that's definitely the benefit of eliminating Skype.
Right.
Equation. It's a lot easier to have a couple people talking, maybe even accidentally at the same time, and not one of them totally cut off from the conversation.
Social Power Summit. We'll tag that. We've tagged the Agorapulse. And Geige Vandentop. StreamYard. And hashtag Livestream Deals. So this is a little behind the scenes, everybody, and it's really exciting. But we're gonna do some post show. I'm doing the multi-channel streaming thing, and today we're using Restream.io, and so we're going to, I don't know, like 6 different channels.
Nice.
My head. Let's see, where are we going? We're going to Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, and Mixer.
Hey, I am huge on Twitch, so that's a good thing.
Are you?
No.
Hey, let's bring in real quick. Geige Vandentop is
hey, nice to meet you guys.
The CEO of this wonderful platform that we're using, and it looks great with these this new lower third that you put in, because now if I put something on the screen, it doesn't cut off people.
Yeah, it's a bit out of the way.
It's nice and balanced, and the video is really high quality. So this is the first time I'm doing a restream for a show. I did one sort of test solo thing. So we're going to Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, and Mixer, and then we'll do the post show only on YouTube, which is the Livestream Universe YouTube channel. So with all that, let's get started. You guys all look and sound great. I'm going to drop you down. If you don't want to hang out, you can jump off and come back on when your segment starts. If you want to hang out, you're welcome to hang out as long as you want. And we'd love to have you on for the post show as well. So we will get started in just a second. And so this will also be a podcast. So let me just give everybody a quick hello now. And we may do a few shout outs along the way, but we'd love to get your questions. I'll be looking at the chat to bring in questions. In fact, let me take a look at the chat on Restream, because I'm not getting anything yet from Restream. And so let me just see if that is coming through or not. Here we go. And now the comments are here. Well, I can see my comment. Look at this. I can see my comment. All right. So it's a work in progress, but welcome everybody. This is Livestream Deals. I'm Ross Brand. This is the show where we feature products, services, events, courses, and more for live streamers, podcasters, and online content creators. We have a terrific lineup of A-listers today. Mike Allton from Agorapulse will be joining us. Then Dr. Aikyna Finch, who is the founder of the Social Power Summit, where I'm excited to be one of the speakers. That's coming up in July. We'll talk more about that. And Geige Vandentop, the CEO of StreamYard. We are actually using StreamYard right now to broadcast this, and it's a terrific platform, and can't wait to hear from Geige. If you have any questions, please do throw them in the chat, and we will get to them as we can. And we appreciate everybody for joining us, and excited about this great group of guests. So let's get started. Our first guest is the brand evangelist for Agorapulse. He's a terrific blogger who stays on top of, I think, both the art and science of content marketing and content management. And he's a terrific speaker as well. We'll be speaking at Social Media Week, Lima, Ohio. That is, it's the Midwest's largest social media conference. In fact, if you haven't gotten tickets yet, there are still a few tickets remaining. Head on over to livestreamuniverse.com/SMWL19. I'll keep that up for a couple of seconds on the screen. Check that out. You can find that information and still get tickets. It's an amazing event. And Mike, before we get to Agorapulse, and thank you so much for joining us here on Livestream Deals, talk a little bit about what you're going to be talking about this year at Lima.
Sure. Well, hello, Ross. Thanks for having me.
Right.
Hello, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer. I think I got them all.
You got it. You got it. Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Twitter, and Mixer. Yes.
Right.
The most channels I've ever gotten.
Okay. I feel very special. So yeah, I'm going to be in Lima. It's in 2 weeks. And I am really privileged now to be on a panel that's being moderated by our mutual friend, Chris Strub and Dr. I and Christine Gritman. They're going to be on the panel with me. We're going to be talking about some of the harsh truths and realities surrounding the creation of content. So a lot of you content creators that are out there, you're going to relate to a lot of the things that we're going to talk about.
And so when you go to speak at a conference, obviously being with Agorapulse, you're going to get a lot of questions about Agorapulse. So I'm sure our viewers have some of those questions as well. We'll try and bring in as much as we can in the time that we have with you. Tell us, just for people who are new to Agorapulse and maybe social media management tools, tell us what Agorapulse is and why people choose to use it to manage their social media.
Sure. And I'll tell it from the outset, I obviously love talking about Agorapulse, not just because I worked there. I've been using the tool for years now, ever since I first met the CEO at Social Media Marketing World back in 2016. So I've been using it for a long time, very familiar with it. It's one of my favorite tools to use. I've been using it, like I said, for so long that it's just part of my daily routine to jump in there and use that to check social media. So for those who've never heard of it, or maybe you haven't dug into it very much yourself, it's what we call an all-in-one social media management tool. So it's scheduling, of course, to multiple social networks, but it's also monitoring. So you can go into one single dashboard and see things like tweets, comments, replies, direct messages, Facebook messages, comments on Instagram posts, comments on YouTube videos, comments on Facebook ads, all the different ways that your audience could be engaging with you, with your content on all the different platforms that you might be on. We bring them all into one dashboard, so you don't have to have a bunch of different tabs open, or heaven forbid you forget to check your LinkedIn company page posts, because most people probably aren't getting a lot of engagement, but the one time a lead reaches out to you on a LinkedIn company page post, you're probably going to want to read that and respond to them. or even worse, if it's some kind of a customer support issue, you're going to want to be on top of that. So that's what a dashboard does for you. Plus, we add on reporting and we add on listening. So we give you that one single place where you can go in, you can manage all your social profiles and your clients. So that's why one of our bigger segments, if you will, in terms of our own customer base, are agencies. We have a ton of agencies that are using Agorapulse to handle all of their social media for all their clients.
So we got a quick question from Lenny Besterman, which is, when is Social Media Week Lima coming up? And that is coming up June 18th and 19th. So 2 weeks from 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah,
2 weeks from sometime. Yeah, it's coming up. As I said, don't try and do math, Ross. You had the information. Just go with it. It's coming up June 18th and 19th. It's in Lima, Ohio. And again, you can go to livestreamdeals.com, and get more information on all the products we're featuring here. And if you scroll down a bit, we talked to Jessica last month, who's the founder of that event, and there's a link there as well. Getting back to Agorapulse, what platforms would you say that using social media management tool and using in particular Agorapulse is most helpful for
that's a good question. That'll vary a little bit. There's some aspects to pretty much each of these social networks that make having a tool by your side that can help you invaluable. So I'll give you some examples. With Facebook, if you're running advertising on Facebook, and if you're doing what we call a dark post, which is to say that instead of going to a post that you've already shared to your Facebook page and you're boosting it, instead you're going into the back end, into the ads manager, and you create the post in ads manager, which a lot of savvy people will do because that's where you get all the advanced targeting and those kinds of aspects. When you create a post like that and somebody comments on it, you won't see the comment in your normal notifications. In fact, some of the people watching today, this might be news. Some people watching today might not even realize that you're missing comments. The only way to see comments on an ad that you've created inside of Facebook Ads Manager is to actually go into Ads Manager and to click on that ad and to open it up and see, oh, wow, a bunch of people commented on this ad. A bunch of people were asking me questions about this thing that I was selling or this thing that I was promoting or what have you. So that's an issue. But when you have a tool like Agorapulse, we bring all those comments into the dashboard right alongside your native post comments. So that's an example specifically for Facebook where you almost have to have a tool. Otherwise, you're going to miss really important engagement. And that kind of thing happens all the time. LinkedIn's another good example where LinkedIn, it's a good idea to pay attention to your notification settings on all the social networks and make sure that you're not getting dinged for every single like, for every single favorite or whatever, because that can be overwhelming once you start to get a bit of an audience. If you're posting to LinkedIn and you've got a post that you maybe get 10 or more likes per post, you're probably not going to be notified for every single one of those. So you're going to want to turn that off. On LinkedIn, the likes and the comments and the shares are all bundled together into one notification toggle. So if you turn off a notification for post likes within LinkedIn, you're also turning off notifications for comments. So when you post to LinkedIn, the only time you would get a notification is if someone actually mentions you, which is a separate toggle. And again, this is like crazy, but that's the way it works on LinkedIn. And again, if you've got a dashboard tool like Agorapulse that's monitoring all the engagement on all of your posts, no matter what, and bringing them into a single feed, then you won't miss any comments on your LinkedIn posts.
So you don't have to be pestered by notifications all day, but you don't miss anything.
Exactly.
It's still all there for you when you check Agorapulse. Now, for LinkedIn, are there any restrictions on how you can use LinkedIn, or you can manage all your accounts on LinkedIn?
Yeah, that's a great question because every social network is different and they all change. So what I tell you is going to be true and effective as of today, Thursday, June 6th. So tomorrow, this might be a little bit different because as a social media management tool, we rely on the social networks API, which is just a fancy word for the ability or the options or the functionality that they allow other tools to use. So LinkedIn, for example, you can connect personal profiles and you can connect company pages. So you can connect both types of LinkedIn profiles. But there are some differences in terms of what you can do and what you'll be able to see. For instance, we can give you reports on your company page and how your posts are performing and how your audience is growing, but we don't have any reports on personal profiles because LinkedIn doesn't give them to us. We can allow you to publish video to pages, not to profiles. LinkedIn doesn't let us do that. So there are some differences there, but you can connect both types of profiles at a very minimum. You can schedule activity and you can monitor engagement with those profiles.
Yeah, Geige Vandentop, who will be joining us later, the CEO of StreamYard, which is the platform we're using right now, says that's a nice feature. I've struggled finding comments for Facebook ads before. And again, as you mentioned, what we call dark posts are where it doesn't appear in your feed, right? So you can't just go to it in your feed and see the comments. So you're not going to get notified as though it was something that you posted natively on your page and then decided to boost afterwards, right?
Exactly right.
And so when you're using the different platforms, obviously, when people think of scheduling tools and management tools and analytics tools, traditionally they were aimed at Twitter first, and then they branched out to other platforms. Now Twitter isn't necessarily everybody's sort of primary place for social engagement, unless perhaps you're in politics or sports or live events and things like that. How could you use Agorapulse to sort of re-energize your Twitter account if you're not seeing the same engagement or having the same real-time conversations that you used to have maybe a few years ago on Twitter?
Twitter's really interesting because everything you said is absolutely right. The culture, the microculture, the kind of the micro society that's evolved around Twitter, like every social network, it changes over time. And with other social networks popping up, people kind of tend to change their own personal usage. But with Agorapulse, one of the cool things you can do is schedule activity. And what a lot of people need to do is kind of think outside the box when it comes to scheduling activity. It's super easy to think, oh, well, I've got some old content. I'm just going to schedule that to go out on a regular basis. Well, that's boring. I do that. Don't get me wrong. But that's boring. That's not really interesting or engaging. What they could do instead is what you did, Ross, right before this show, is you scheduled some tweets to go out during the show. You just did a little bit of prognostication. You knew where you were going to be and what you were going to be doing at this particular moment half an hour ago. And you decided to take advantage of that fact and use a tool to schedule that activity out so that you can continue to be active as a Twitter profile, even while you're actually broadcasting, or in this case, simulcasting to multiple channels. So there's lots of things you can be doing along those lines and just being proactive. And I love using the live streamer as an example because you can do a number of different things. First of all, you know, if you're a routine, regular live streamer, that you've got a show or maybe multiple shows that are going to be going live on a set time every single week or every day or however often your frequency is. So you can set up a queue. Maybe it's always 7 p.m. on Thursdays. And so you know that at 6 p.m. on Thursdays, you're going to want to promote the next show. And on Wednesday, you're going to promote that show. And on Tuesday, you're going to promote it, and so on. You can set up a queue with those specific time slots in advance and know that I want to be tweeting out at those times to promote the next show. And then you can have a spreadsheet where you actually upload the tweets every single week, and you just tweak them in the spreadsheet the week before. Okay, Thursday night, these are my guests, this is the topic, this is the link, boom, put that in the spreadsheet and then upload it into the queue and have those ready to go. So it takes you just moments to schedule those out, as opposed to either A, not doing it, or B, doing it manually.
And you can upload it right from the spreadsheet. You don't have to copy and paste each tweet into the
Yeah, you
Wow.
download the spreadsheet as a basic CSV. That's a comma separated values list of kind of a really primitive form of a spreadsheet. You download that as a CSV, which Google Sheets, you can do that, so you don't have to buy Excel or anything like that. Download it as a CSV, upload it into the bulk publishing and Agorapulse, and choose the promotional queue that you set up, and you're done.
Right. Now, one of the things that Agorapulse, you hear with Agorapulse is social inbox zero. What exactly is that, and why should that be a goal of people using Agorapulse?
Well, it's this idea that every social platform that you have a presence on, you have an inbox. You've got a way that people are reaching out to you, whether they're commenting on your posts, they're sending you direct messages, they're retweeting you, they're replying, they're mentioning. There's all these different things. Obviously, the lingo is a little bit different with every network, but essentially the meaning is the same. They're trying to engage with you in some way, and you want to be able to keep on top of all those inbox mentions and inbox comments. And that means being able to get to a point where you've addressed every single one of them. So if I go into the actual native Twitter app right now, and I go to the notifications right now, it'll show me every single notification, and I can keep scrolling forever, right? And I don't know for sure if I've hit them all unless I remember where I stopped. Right. If I remember, oh yeah, this morning I checked Twitter and I favorited all the ones that came in, all the mentions and whatnot. And if I don't remember that, then I'm going to be scrolling and rereading things. Inside of Agorapulse, you'll have that single inbox where you can resolve the comments and you can resolve the tweets or review them so that they're no longer in the inbox once you've done whatever you need to do with them. Maybe you need to reply. Maybe you just need to favorite them. Maybe you want to assign them to a team member. Maybe you've got a team and this is a customer support question that you want somebody else to take care of. You can assign it. Whatever you want to do. Maybe nothing. Maybe there's nothing to do, which is cool. There's a review all button at the very top. So at the end of the end, they're all reviewed and your inbox is empty.
Nice. That's a nice feeling. I'm not sure I've ever had that feeling, but it's something that Agorapulse is helping me get closer to than I've ever been before. Eileen Smith says that she likes the Agorapulse podcast, Social Media Lab, and could you share maybe one study, one finding, one conclusion or theory that's come out from that podcast that you found particularly helpful in managing your social media?
Sure. And shout out to Eileen. Thank you for that comment. Thank you for your support. The Social Media Lab, it's almost a separate entity. Agorapulse created it, but the idea with the Social Media Lab is we wanted to go out and actually test the things that people are saying or finding or questioning about social media. Like a really obvious common example is, what's the best time of day to post? Well, you can see lots of studies and you can see all kinds of outdated infographics, but what really is the best time to post? Is there any science? Is there any data that would tell you the answer to that question? Well, that's what the Social Media Lab tries to do. It's led by Scott Ayers on our team, and he runs these experiments and he puts out this really great podcast. So that's part of Agorapulse. One of the fun examples that I really enjoyed was this idea going back to Facebook ad comments. If you're running Facebook ads, most of the time you want engagement on the ad, because if I comment on your ad, then my audience might see that I commented on your ad, and now it's getting some organic interest and engagement, much like a regular post. And you'd have to pay for that, right? If 10 of my friends see the post that I commented on and they click through to look at your product, that's all, dollar-free clicks.
Right.
But what's interesting, what we looked at is, well, what happens when there are negative comments on an ad? Because some ad experts will tell you, leave them in place. They'll tell you that any kind of engagement is good engagement and it'll be good for your ad, so leave them there. And we want to test that. So that's exactly what we did. We created some ads and we seeded some positive comments on a bunch of the ads. And then we seeded some negative comments on a bunch of the ads and we compared the results. And it was astounding just how poorly the ads performed when they had negative comments. Now, Facebook won't give you any different metrics. They pretty much look the same, except when it looks at clicks and conversions. So they'd reach the same number of people on average, but you'd see a 36% drop in clicks.
Wow.
And that's significant, particularly if you're trying to sell something, right? If the whole point of the ad is to drive traffic to a webinar or product or something else that you're trying to promote, to lose 36% just because you left some negative comments, or worse, you didn't even know they were there because
Right.
you didn't know to check Ads Manager like we were talking about
Right.
before.
And it's not like any other social post. Like if you're asking a question, hey, did you enjoy the video? Let me know either way or whatever. This is affecting your business if that negative comment impacts things. Quick question from Eileen Smith. Will Agorapulse ever post? Try that 10 times fast. Will Agorapulse ever post to Pinterest?
That's a great question, Eileen. Pinterest is, obviously another social network, and it's one that there are other dashboards that support it. There are other tools that are really, really good at Pinterest, like Tailwind. I love Tailwind. Great friends with the folks at Tailwind. They make a really excellent Pinterest tool. And to be perfectly frank, if Agorapulse ever did support Pinterest, we probably still wouldn't do for it what you would get out of Tailwind. But to answer your question, it's possible. It's something we've looked at. It's something we've been asked about. And like anything else, it's a matter of a business decision. Is there enough demand for us to invest the development resources in adding that particular social network? Who knows? It might happen. It's not on our roadmap today, which is to say that it's not something that's actually planned. Right now, one of our big focuses this year is what we call unified everything, unified inbox, unified calendar, unified reporting, because right now it's all separated by social network. So you have a Twitter inbox for your Twitter profile. You've got a Facebook page inbox. What we want to do is give you the ability to choose a bunch of different social profiles and have a single inbox, which makes huge sense if you're managing a brand or some clients or something like that. Again, maybe you want to bring all the reports from all their channels into one single report. So that's been our big focus this year. Unified, some of the unified features are coming out as early as next month, and then gradually rolling out in the months after that. So after that, maybe we'll add Pinterest. Who knows?
Sounds good. Mike Allton, he is the brand evangelist for Agorapulse. Check out Agorapulse, agorapulse.com, or head on over to livestreamdeals.com, where you have all the products, services, and events that we feature on this show, and find out more information. Give it a try. It really is an amazing tool, and so many people who are very successful with social media have been adopting it in the time since you took over as brand evangelist. You've really I've seen it just explode within this community of live streamers and podcasters and social media creators. So congratulations on everything you're doing, and look forward to hanging out in a couple weeks in
Thank you very much.
Lima, Ohio.
Yeah, see you then.
Thanks so much, Mike. That is Mike Allton from Agorapulse. Do check them out. I want to say a quick hello to everybody watching over on YouTube. It's great to get such a wonderful turnout over on YouTube. Our good friend John DeStefano, you do it. Todd.live was here, but he had to run. Dan Norton, of course. Dan and John, fellow members of the New York City Video Mastermind. Thanks to Eileen Smith for the great questions, and she's also watching over on YouTube. Dr. Finch has been active in the chat over on YouTube. She'll be coming up in just a few minutes. And, of course, welcome to everybody watching on Facebook, Devontae and Brad, and Nicole and April and Geige, who will be joining us in a little bit from StreamYard, Lenny Besterman. And if I missed anybody, we love having you. And we're going to do some post-show, so we'll have some more chance to chat after the show at 8 o'clock. We'll be doing post-show exclusively on YouTube, on the Livestream Universe YouTube channel. And with that, let's get to our next guest, somebody who's been a friend almost since I started live streaming. We got to know each other, I think, on Blab first, and then on Fire Talk or Huzzah, or was it whatever, and then Facebook Live, and then this multi-channel thing. She's always been great on Periscope as well. and she's the founder of the Social Power Summit, which I'm honored to be one of the speakers. Welcome, Dr. Aikyna Finch.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be here with you, my friend Ross. You are correct. We have been friends for quite some time, and you only get better.
Yes, thank you. You too. And I'm so honored that you asked me to be a part of the Social Power Summit. It's a virtual summit. You can get your free pass to all the different sessions by going to livestreamuniverse.com/social power summit, livestreamuniverse.com/social power summit. Last year it was an in-person summit. This year it's a virtual summit. Tell us what's on tap for the summit this year.
Oh my goodness. So we have 23 powerhouse speakers on social media, and the topics that we're going to be covering, day one is going to be Facebook. Then we're going to go into Instagram on day two, live streaming on day three. Then we're going to go and touch LinkedIn. And then, of course, we're going to end with YouTube. It is going to be amazing. We have an array of people. Of course, we have people talking about Facebook ads, Dominique Perrone and Neala Phillip in that area for Facebook. Then, of course, we have Ross Brand with live streaming. And then we will also have Amber Aziza on the live stream tip, as well as Rashonda Pratt. Then we're going to mix it up in LinkedIn and bring in Malika Holloway and Natasha Nurse. They're going to give us some LinkedIn tips. And then Instagram, we're going to have Justin Brown. We're going to have Kenya Kelly. And, of course, Lisa Nichols' own social media manager, Lori Turner. And then, of course, we ended up with YouTube, with one of YouTube's finest. We have a mass group in YouTube as well. I mean, it is going to be amazing. But I want to tell the reason why we're doing the Social Power Summit. I have been in social media for a very long time. It's 2008, and I love sharing. But every once in a while, I'm like the lone wolf on the panel, and I know that there's a lot of people who are not being seen but have great content. And so, sometimes they tell us, if you're not being asked to the table, you make your own table, and then you invite them to your table, right? So that's exactly what we did. And so we brought these 23 people together, and they're going to invite all of you to the table, all of their fans to the table, all of their networks to the table. And we're just going to have a great social media frenzy, because there's so much information that you're not knowing about, so many tools that they're going to be giving. And then everybody has a free gift. And believe it or not, Ross Brand blessed us with something that he hadn't even released to the public. So you'll only be getting it from the Social Power Summit. So yay. And you can't wait. Y'all need to get it. Really.
Should I tease it now, or should we wait till my session?
Go ahead and tease it. Go ahead.
So I'm gonna be sharing 7 different types of interviews, and believe me, there are 7 different types of interviews that you can use to monetize live streaming. And I've sat on it for a couple of years. It was supposed to be an opt-in, and I never really did anything with it. I'm not big on the email list and that stuff, although I have been compiling one. I don't do enough with it, and don't encourage people to sign up and all that. So I'm so thrilled to have an opportunity to share this with people. And all you have to do is attend the session. You'll find out how to get that list of 7 different ways you can monetize live streaming with 7 different types of interviews. And I love the interview show. I know you love doing this kind of thing. It's a big part of the summit is you're having conversations with the influencers rather than people doing like a slideshow or something like that. It's all about these conversations, and it's really an underrated form of storytelling It's not just for investigative journalism or, making a man in the street reacting to news or whatever. It's a tremendous way to stir conversations on social media. And also thank you, by the way, for creating an event that gives speakers an opportunity, but also gives people an opportunity to learn from different voices. What is involved in putting together an event like this? I mean, it's got to be a tremendous amount of work to put a virtual summit together.
Well, I would say, to be safe, I would give myself 3 months at least to really get the things going. So first off, you make sure you have your list of people that you want to speak to. Some will ignore you, some will be late to the game, some will do all these, but then some will be Johnny on the spot, like when, because to be honest, the very first post, as soon as we put out the pictures, was Ross Brand. So, I love it. I love it. There for a while, it was just nothing but me and Ross Brand there, but I loved him for it. And, and he was the first one to get his first referral. So, that shows that the work does happen. And then after you get your speakers in play, make sure you have your emails sent out, make sure you have your graphics, get some topics that that your people have been waiting on and talking about. And then, of course, start your marketing, I would say a month out, and, make sure that your recordings are quality, because you're going to want to sell your recordings, And then yes, he is always first, most definitely. And then once you get to that point, when you're ready to release, make sure that your people give your audience a, free gift. Why do you want to do that? Because you want them to interact with your speakers. And because you have people like Ross Brand, who doesn't really do anything with his list, but he is a mighty force. So now we're going to help him grow that list, right? So all of y'all are going to click on that link below right there, and y'all going to sign up for this summit. And then y'all going to sign up for his free gift so that he can build that list up, because y'all know that he gives great content. So help my brother out, right? For sure. And listen to his session, because it was amazing. And listen to all the other ones, because I've been doing social media for since 2008, and I learned so much about what different platforms are doing, and then also what it can do for your business. There's so many things, with things changing, like we were talking about Twitter earlier with Mike, how Twitter used to be everything. And now if you're not in politics, or if you're not in events, then it might not work for you. So what's your next option? Or now that we have LinkedIn Live, what's our next option? So what are we going to do? Yes, Mike, you are amazing. Yes. And we appreciate you too. And, I just say, and then of course we're going to have Mike on our next summit, chat it up if y'all want Mike on the next summit, right? And then, and so, plug it. So right. Anyway, I say, you want to know these people. And, if you're looking for that next fresh face, if y'all have seen everybody over and over again, I promise you haven't seen these people. So the combination is amazing. We have a full figure model that was an attorney that now uses live streaming to educate and promote her awareness about her causes. How cool is that?
Right.
They're going to show you different ways to use your social media to take yourself to the next level.
Well, you know what I find so interesting when I look at the each day has a different theme and a different social channel.
Mm-hmm. And
like you were saying, I mean, if this was 2 years ago, it would have been like day 1, 2, and 3 Twitter, and then everything else, right?
Exactly.
There's no Twitter, but there's a day for live streaming, which shows how big live streaming has gotten. There's a day for YouTube, which shows video in general. And there's a day for LinkedIn, which never, for a while wasn't really thought of as social strategy. It was thought of as post your resume and come back if somebody sends you an invite to apply for a job or something like that, and maybe a little social selling and social recruiting. But it's amazing to see all the content that some people are creating now on LinkedIn and all the following that they're getting there. So I love how current you're keeping with what's going on right now today, where the value is for business owners.
And I mean, of course, the IGTV story just broke. So we're going to be talking about some of that too. So you get to weigh in. IGTV, relevant or not? Video, relevant or not? LinkedIn Live with all the emojis, relevant or not? We have all of the hot conversations and you want to weigh in. Yes. Love the sound of monetizing live stream. I love it too. That's why Ross Brand was on here. Yes. We love it. But see, they're going to all give you different tools to monetize all of the platforms. Every platform is monetizable. And because there are so many different ways. I mean, people have so many imaginations about these different things. So join the conversation. July 8th through the 12th, Facebook, Instagram, live streaming, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Don't miss a day. But if you do miss a day, you can click that link right there, and then you say, oh, I want all the recordings. Guess what? The recordings are sitting there right now for you to watch. You don't even have to wait. So, wow. But click on that link to find out about all that. I'm not gonna give all that.
We're talking with Dr. Aikyna Finch. She is the founder of the Social Power Summit, the second annual Social Power Summit. It is virtual this year. You can get your free virtual pass by going to livestreamuniverse.com/Social Power Summit, livestreamuniverse.com/Social Power Summit. Tell us what you've been up to as far as live streaming goes, what kind of stuff you've been doing or what you've discovered that's changed or that's working for you in, the last 6 months or so.
So I've been interviewing apps for go live on my phone. And then, of course, I have signed up for our next deal that's coming after me, StreamYard. So yes, clap it up. And I am super excited about that. Got all my platforms and ready to go.
Right. And
of course, that's going to be great for your podcast because, now podcast with the video component is everything. Right. And, because we are about that multi-purpose in life. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, let's work smarter, not harder, people.
Right.
And you're going to hear a lot of that in the summit too, working smarter, not harder. For that. But as far as I am concerned, I've been doing a lot of different things with my membership site, Success on Social. So that's where a group of my lovely ladies, we come together and we bring in guests and they talk about different things and trends. And this month is Twitter. So that's going to be interesting. And I got my eye on a certain somebody to speak for that. Uh-oh. And, and then when we go back to live streaming, of course, we're going to have the fabulous Ross Brand. And of course, we might actually have you for podcasting. I think that's what I want you for.
Oh, wow.
But yes, I can't wait to collaborate more with you, my friend.
I can't either. And I can't wait for the Social Power Summit. Everybody get your free. It's free. It's free.
$99.
And you get gifts on top of it. Livestreamuniverse.com/Social Power Summit, or just go to livestreamdeals.com. You'll see a big image of it. Click that image, sign up. Takes about 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. You'll be ready to go. You'll get your virtual pass and you can watch all the different sessions. Thank you so much, Aikyna. It's so great to chat with you again. And can't wait. As I said, I can't wait for the summit.
Yes. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And thank you, everybody, for watching. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. This is Livestream Deals. I am Ross Brand. This is the fastest show in live streaming as we go from guest to guest to guest. And we have a terrific guest coming up in just a moment, Geige Vandentop, the founder of StreamYard. which is the platform that we are using right now. We are using StreamYard to go to restream.io, which then goes to how many platforms are we going to again? Where are we going again? We're going to Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, Twitch, and Mixer. And the majority of people, I'm sure, are watching on either Facebook or YouTube. We're going to do some post-show after we talk to Geige over on the Livestream Universe YouTube channel, youtube.com/livestreamuniverse. So at any time between now and then, you can head on over there, and we'll open things up and have just a little free-flowing chat. But now let's bring on the guy that I consider perhaps the most important person in live streaming. Well, along with his co-founder, Dan, Geige Vandentop, is the CEO of StreamYard, which is blowing up. It is a phenomenal platform. Obviously, it's what I've chosen to do all my live talk shows on since the beginning of the year, after using a different platform in the prior couple of years for with the same consistency. And Geige, first of all, congratulations. I mean, it's great to see the platform growing. It's great to see all the new features and new users. Since we talked in January, how are you feeling about how things are going?
Yeah, that was quite an introduction. Thanks so much, Ross. It's super cool. Thanks for having me on. It's super cool to be back. It feels like January was so long ago, even though it's really not that long. But yeah, it's super exciting. Like, StreamYard is growing really fast, and it's quite a different entity now than it was in January. And big part of that is people like you helping us get the word out, and our awesome community over there. So yeah, it's great. It's been awesome.
You know, before we get to the new features, because I can't even believe how quickly you guys churn out new features and they work right out of the box. What stands out to me is how good the audio and video quality is. And we have, there's 3 guests on today. Each guest is coming from a different location. Whatever location they're in has its own bandwidth, may have its own bandwidth channels. Or challenges and channels, and everybody's using different mics and different equipment and different computers and everything else. And yet, when I bring on 3 guests or 4 guests or 5 guests at one time, the quality doesn't diminish. The audio and video doesn't come in and out. Without giving away all the trade secrets, how did you manage to pull that off? Which seems like every other easy for me to say, browser-based platform has really struggled with.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's definitely a unique aspect of StreamYard. Is it's really the simple things that are really important on a platform, right? Like, you can have all the bells and whistles in the world. If it's the video doesn't look good, or it doesn't sound that great, or it's crashing on you, none of that really matters, right? So that's why we decided to do the back end entirely ourselves. So most of these other browser-based platforms, they rely on other tools that are designed for basically quickly making like a meeting application or something like that. And rather than using someone else's tool that's probably optimized for a different use case, we actually rolled our own and built on top of some existing open source tools, and run all the video infrastructure ourselves, which allows us to optimize for live streaming this particular use case, to make sure that we can get the best possible experience for people that may not be on the best connection or be close to you, right?
So what surprised you most from this adventure, from the time you've started to where you're at now, either about the product or about the community or anything else related to StreamYard?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's been a lot of things that have surprised me. The most significant aspect was probably the community, and how amazing people in the community are, and how behind us they are, and how helpful they are for growing the platform. Because I sort of thought, when we first started StreamYard, I thought of it more of just like a tool, right? And how excited about, well, you can be very excited about a tool, but how much of a community can you have around a tool? Which obviously you can have a very big community. So that was a mistake on my part. But it didn't see, like, since StreamYard isn't really like it's not YouTube, right? It's not a platform on its own. I thought that would sort of limit how much of a community aspect there could be. So it surprised me that how well our Facebook group has grown and how helpful people are in the group, and how it really feels like, people call it hashtag the yard, how it really feels like its own place, which is that's been the most surprising part, and it's one of my favorite parts as well.
What are some of the different uses that you've seen of people who are creating shows or broadcasts on StreamYard? Do you have a few that stand out to you that either because of their quality or because it's just so original or different from what you expected people would do on the platform?
Yeah, absolutely. So probably the most unique one that stands out that isn't really a common use case, but I always bring up because it's funny to me, is there's a online exercise group that uses our tool to basically bring in people remotely to do their exercise class, and then they go to YouTube, so they have an archive of all the exercise videos. So that's probably the most unique one. Podcasting is very common, which I wasn't super familiar with podcasting, so didn't realize that there would be so many users from the podcasting community. But since video is becoming a big component to podcasts, where people want to sort of grow their podcasting following by going live to these different platforms, that's been surprising to me. There's lots of awesome podcasters that are using StreamYard. And then the marketers, the marketing types that are selling courses and things like that. That's a very common use case. A very famous internet marketer uses StreamYard named Frank Kern. So that was really cool to see him start using it. We were pretty excited about that. But yeah, those are the main ones. I love seeing all the bloggers using it, and
Right.
of course people like you and Eileen and I. It's cool to see, because one thing that people might not know is, while we were making StreamYard, like, we studied people like you very carefully. Right? We were looking at like, I watched your streams while we were building StreamYard. I watched streams while we were building StreamYard. I watched people's streams, like, who else did I watch? Like, I watched Owen's streams, like lots of these people that are live streamers, and some that are even using StreamYard now. I was watching before we actually built StreamYard, so that's very cool to see.
Very nice, very nice. I did not know when we were introduced you had already kind of known what I was doing. I want to bring in a question from Dan Norton. Can you play a pre-produced video on a live stream with StreamYard without screen sharing?
Not only using StreamYard. So you're going to have to be using something like OBS, bring it in as a virtual cam, and do it that way. But you also want to be a bit careful with that. Like, I think Facebook wants you to put like the pre-recorded symbol up if you're doing that. YouTube might have the same policy. I'm not sure.
Right. Anita Sonia asks, waiting for StreamYard to be mobile friendly because I want a mobile lifestyle, not laptop lifestyle. When will we be able to host interview shows from a mobile device?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely on our radar, and I understand that. I think the last time we talked, Ross, we actually didn't have mobile support for guests, which is
right.
an even more critical feature. So we at least have that now. So you can join StreamYard streams on Androids or iPhones. The cool thing is there's no app at all, right? Which I think is very important for a guest experience, is to make sure that they don't really have to do much in order to join your stream, really eliminate that friction. But to go back to the question, yes, I agree that we would like to have an experience from the host side as far as streaming from StreamYard on a mobile device. We just really want to make sure that we get the user experience correct, because you're working with much less landscape than you are on a desktop or laptop. But you'll probably see tablet support, iPads/Android tablets before phones, but we are working on it.
So let's talk about the new features that have come out recently. Some of them are just, I mean, all of them work right out of the box, which is just amazing, because usually as these platforms grow and features are added, the features start to take away from the experience. I am loving the clean new look of the minimalist lower thirds and comments. Awesome. You don't have to worry about covering up the broadcast. It doesn't distract, but you still get that information out there for people. Video clips. Talk about, you can't play a pre-recorded show, but you can play brief video clips. Talk about how people can integrate that into their live streams.
Yeah, absolutely. So a common thing that we saw getting requested was people wanting to easily do. They would specifically refer to it as like intro and outro videos. So screen sharing works well, but it's sort of clumsy to have to pull up another screen and share it and bring it in when you're trying to just do like a simple short intro or outro video, like a maybe 15 to 30-second clip. So we added a feature where we call them overlays, similar to the way you see that logo up there. You can upload an image and put it on screen. We added the ability to upload MP4 files as an overlay, and that allows you to just simply like click your video overlay, and it's easy to play a 15 to 30-second intro or outro video. So lots of people are doing a really great job branding their streams that way. As they start with a full screen overlay, play their intro video, and then go straight into the show. And I think if you do it properly, it works really well for that use case.
Yeah, and you could use it as an outro as well, or even as, if I wanted to play a clip in between guests just to give myself a
for segments. I actually was thinking about doing that for our weekly stream, is that have different segments and just be like, okay, I'd have to think of segment names, but just a quick clip to transition to a new segment. I think that I haven't seen it yet, but I think that would work well.
Wow. So talk about what you think of all the features, which has had the biggest response or been the most popular, in the last 6 months.
So honestly, it's not anything that's like super flashy. Like I don't think it's the intros or the themes or things like that. Like people really appreciate that and they really, really like that. But it's the simple things that I think are important. So the most common thing I hear is how easy it is to get guests into the stream. Is like there's lots of tools out there, but there's usually some sort of friction, like with them having to download software or having to connect a social profile to get into the program. Like there's always some hoops you got to jump through. And then there's some issues as far as them getting their equipment set up. So we've really tried, and that's actually something we added recently too, is a mic check for all guests that join, so that it's very clear to them whether or not their equipment's working, and then we direct them on how to fix it before they even enter the broadcast. So the most common thing I hear is just like, hey, I really like how you guys make it easy for me to get guests into the stream, and that's definitely something we try to prioritize.
The other thing that I love about the platform, and John DeStefano, who goes by You Do It on YouTube, but by Rigor on Facebook, says he integrates OBS virtual cam so he can have full control over its video. And I've been testing all these different workflows to just see what I want to go with. And when I've come in through virtual cam from Wirecast, or I've gone out, I know you have the built-in integration with Restream that we're using now, but I've used other restreaming services. It all fits together so smoothly that you don't even know that you're adding these extra moving parts that could take away from the broadcast if something didn't work correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice that you can sort of integrate these more complex tools to get some more cool effects, like bringing a virtual cam to do some of the complex stuff that things like Wirecast and vMix and OBS have. Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you look to the future, you're walking sort of, you have two different purposes, right? One is to make it as professional as possible.
Yeah.
One, to keep it easy to use. So it's not just experienced broadcasters who can figure it, but anybody can get on and within minutes really learn how to connect their audio and video and host the show. What do you think are some things that you can add in the future that won't overcomplicate it or make the learning curve too steep, or, make too many features to where it's like, I'm scattered running a show because I could put this on or I could put that on. It's working so well now. What do you look at as some things that you could add in the future besides the extra mobile support for hosting that, wouldn't kind of get in the way of your pillars?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good question, and probably something that people don't think about that often. But yeah, it's a daily struggle, right? Having to manage between keeping things super simple and delivering features for everyone to use. Because believe it or not, you often see it's keeping a product simple and intuitive is a lot harder than just adding tons of features, right? If we just added all the features and threw it on there, it's actually not that hard to do. The hardest part, in my opinion, is making sure that it's super intuitive to new people, because I think often what happens in not just live streaming tools, any tool really, if it's not designed intuitively, is you jump in and it's just too intimidating and you just lose people really quickly, right? Because it's too complex. Right. So ease of use will always be number one priority for us. Like we're very cognizant of anything we add. How is this going to affect the first time that someone that doesn't know anything about live streaming enters this product? How is it going to affect them? We always have them in mind, which is why. So I think when we add features, you'll see them sort of tucked into other things. Like that's how we did intros and outros, right? Like the dashboard actually didn't change at all, right? You're just able to upload an MP4 file in addition to images. So a new user actually there was no additional like cognitive load as far as understanding what was going on. It's just you would happen upon that, maybe like, oh, I'd like to do an intro, and you go over the tooltip and see that you can actually upload a video. So I think as we add things, we're going to try to very carefully put them in places that you sort of stumble upon when you're ready to use that tool in your live streaming journey, basically. So I guess sort of to give you some actual concrete information on how we might do something like that is, say, themes. Like we're considering having an additional, I can't give you a date on when we would actually do this, but having a sort of creator outside of StreamYard that you would never actually interact with as a streamer for building more complex or custom themes with animations that might have its own ecosystem on its own, right? To make a custom StreamYard theme, and then maybe you'd be able to download those themes and put them into your StreamYard studio. But a new person would never even know that existed until they actually went out looking for it. So I think that's sort of the way we're going to handle adding new features.
We're talking with Geige Vandentop. He is the CEO of StreamYard, and you can check out StreamYard at livestreamdeals.com. It's free to get started, and if you use the link at livestreamdeals.com, the big image of the duck there, you just click that and you sign up. Even if you just start on the free, if you eventually upgrade to a premium plan, you'll also save money at that time on the premium plan. Or you can go to livestreamuniverse.com/StreamYard. That'll also take you right there if you'd rather type into the browser in the old school fashion. So I guess when it comes to mobile, I'm seeing some conversation in the chat about the size of the screen with all the different features and how you get them on and get them off. Is that an issue for the transition to mobile? Is how we get these big thumbs to hit the right?
Yeah,
right.
That's the entire effort, right? Like hosting a stream, like getting it to just host from mobile is trivial. It's like it's all figuring out where to actually put things and how to make it an intuitive experience for people.
Are there any other third-party tools that people have used with StreamYard besides OBS, Wirecast on sort of before getting into StreamYard, right? You're sending your audio and video through some type of switching software or a restreaming. Is there anything else that you've seen people do that's kind of innovative with StreamYard?
Yeah, there's like the mix, like hardware mixers are very popular. You're probably way more familiar with those than me. I honestly don't know much about them, but for like podcasters often have hardware that they use while using StreamYard to get a nice recording of, there you go. So that's a nice, as you sort of level up your live streaming, that's a good tool to add to your tool set. Another interesting one I've seen is someone, so like some people have sort of wrapped their own call-in feature, which is kind of cool. So if you have something, I've never actually done this myself, but if you have something like Google Voice and were to sort of share that as a tab with audio, you could get people to call your Google Voice number and sort of basically have this call-in show on StreamYard. So that's a pretty unique thing I've seen as far as wrapping in another tool into StreamYard. Another thing people use that's very common is things like Voice Meter or Loopback, which are basically software mixers, the same idea as an audio mixer, but just on your computer. And they've used those to do similar things like the call-in feature or getting super high, or not super high, but higher quality audio into the stream and things like that. April uses Voice Meter.
Is there a way, Mike asks, is there a way to use music with art? Of course, comes in all the copyright and all that, but let's say there's some copyright free music out there that how could people play that music in their live stream?
Yep. So you can do that with screen sharing because we recently added the ability to share the audio along with the application or tab. So if you just say you opened up say you had a video file on your computer that had some nice audio or even just an audio file, you just open that with Chrome, and then on StreamYard, you would share screen and then select that particular tab and share with audio. And then you'd be able to put that on screen with audio and play music or a video with audio there.
Now, we're going to go into a little post show in just a minute, and I was going to do it exclusively on YouTube, but I've seen a few comments here about the audio, something going on YouTube. So what we're going to do is we'll stay on Facebook and YouTube. So if people are on Facebook now and don't want to head over to YouTube because they're enjoying the experience on Facebook right now, we'll just keep that going. I will quickly just shut down the other platforms. If you are enjoying this on Periscope, thank you so much. Head on over to rossbrand.live or rossbrand.tv. Either one of those are your option. Thank you for viewing on Twitch and also on Mixer, as well as we stay live on Facebook and YouTube, and head into a little bit of post show. Thank you, Geige, for sticking around. I know you're going to stick around for the post show. Again, livestreamuniverse.com/StreamYard, livestreamuniverse.com/StreamYard to get started. And of course, you can find all the products and services from today's show at livestreamdeals.com. Thanks to Mike Allton from Agorapulse. Thanks to Dr. Aikyna Finch, who's going to join us for some post-show talking about the Social Power Summit, which I'm honored to be a part of. And if you would like to join us, I'm going to go crazy here and open up the seat. Behave yourself if you come on, or you'll be dropped in 2 seconds. But I would love to have you if you want to join us. I'm going to put this link into the... Where do I put the link? Into the Facebook chat, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I can put it into the Restream chat, right? And then it'll go to all the locations.
Yeah, that might work. I've never actually tried that, but I think if you drop it in the Restream chat, it will.
Use this link to join us on camera.
Nice.
Hey, there we go. So if anybody wants to join us, we have a few open seats. Let's put the StreamYard thing to the test and see if we can get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Well, we already got 3 working at one time. So with mobile, when that eventually comes, that's really the trick, is how you get your thumbs on that and not screw up the experience while you're hosting. How you host.
Yeah, right. Because like if you're clicking banners and stuff, you don't want to be seeing the person on their camera clicking stuff on the screen. So yeah, it's something that a lot of thought needs to be put in to do it well.
Because like Switcher Studio, for instance, if you're doing a bigger production with that, you're running it off an iPad, but that iPad may not even be using it as a camera. So,
right. Got the interface, yeah.
And here comes John DeStefano, who may well be playing a video game, and you know what? I'm totally fine with that, because all the time there will ever be a video game on my channel, because I've never played one on live streaming, or probably not off either. So, but you're welcome to go ahead. This is free flowing entertainment. But, thanks for coming on, John. What's going on with you?
I'm trying to get my audio set up because right now I'm hearing you talk like 20 different times. I don't know which tab I have to close.
I would close them all except the one that you're in for the studio.
Yeah, that's probably the best bet.
That's probably the best way to go. So, Aikyna, when you go live on Periscope, do you use any software with that, or you just jump on and go?
Well, at first I was using the OBS, but now I'm leaning towards more of this because, you know, as I stated in the segment before, repurposing is everything. You know, if you can only do it one time and get to the mass audience, I'm down for that, right?
Right.
So I'm loving this. But I do have a question for StreamYard. Do you think that y'all are just going to be that one-stop shop, you know, so we don't have to use Restream and we don't have to use OBS? Do you ever think you're just going to take over that interface and just make this mega supreme?
So I'll phrase. I want it to be a one-stop shop for people that are looking for a very simple, streamlined solution. So I don't think we'll be a one-stop shop for someone that is using vMix. Like I think vMix or Wirecast. I think there will always be a separate user, or not even necessarily a separate, like just for different types of things you're doing, right? Like if you're doing a really advanced event with studio quality cameras at a sports game or something, like that's where you're using something like vMix, right? You're not using StreamYard, but that same person, if they just want to do a quick live stream relatively easily with a few guests, they might also use StreamYard for that instead. But we have big plans for the summer as far as making things very easy. Some of it is repurposing related, as far as making things very easy for someone that doesn't want to deal with a bunch of tools, that just wants a simple, easy experience.
And so, you know, I test out products for my audience because I love doing reviews, and I do plan on doing one for StreamYard because I love this.
Awesome.
But one thing that I noticed is that integration piece. So let's say one thing that is really that is the comments.
Yeah.
Are you going to actually integrate that? Because that's so important for us. Because if you are old school live stream, we're trained to look at the comments and just add them into our flow. Well, when they're not there, you know, I feel discombobulated.
Yeah. So Ross is seeing all the comments. Do you mean like guests? Like so guests can see the comments?
Right. So, Ross, what are you using? I thought you were using Restream for all your comments, or are they just coming in?
I'm using Restream, but the comments are actually coming into the StreamYard studio.
Okay.
So when I put a comment on the screen, like this, for example, right? It's showing which platform it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So it's coming from YouTube, and then you see the name of the person and the comment, and they just come in as they come in, all in one list. So it's actually very easy to manage, and then I can switch to another comment, which is from Facebook.
Okay. So that's helpful because, you know, especially when mobile, a lot of these apps is supposed to be doing this mobile. You get all your comments get all twisted. Do you think that that's going to be an issue when y'all go mobile? Because that really was crazy.
Yeah. So we agree that comments are essential, right? Like I feel like one of the biggest aspects of our product is being able to show the comments on screen. So yeah, comments are very important to us. And actually relatively soon, we're going to add an option to allow your guests to see the comments. I don't think we'll turn it on by default just because I find that for a guest that is new to live streaming, you don't want them distracted. You just want them focused on the interview, but we do plan on adding that. As far as comments getting like discombobulated, like do you mean like the ordering that they come in, or I'm not sure I'm fully understanding.
Oh, no, you answered my question. I'm good.
Okay.
That's what I needed.
Okay. Awesome.
Because, you know, when we switched to mobile, when you put this on there, I was just wondering if that interface was going to cause a problem, because I've noticed that a lot of these mobiles that say that they do what StreamYard does, they have a problem with the comments. And I was wondering if there's like just an interface issue, or if this is just going to be just as streamlined as it is now once you go to mobile.
Right. So there's nothing different about how we'll pull in the comments. It's a design problem for us as far as just like where do we put things? How do we make it a nice experience for the user so they're not having to maybe switch to different tabs and click banners. So that's what that's the problem we're trying to solve. As far as the comments will come in. Absolutely.
Perfect.
Now, when you go live on a mobile, what are some of the like? Are there different challenges bringing in a guest on mobile versus bringing in a guest from computer, or is there not any real different challenge when it's mobile to mobile? In other words, let me rephrase the question, Your Honor. Okay, so when you're hosting from mobile, right?
Yeah.
And you want to bring in a guest, because I noticed that there's a lot of free apps out there for people to go live from their mobile, right? If they just want to go live solo.
Yeah.
But there's almost no free apps out there, as far as I can tell, where you can go live from mobile and bring a guest on.
Okay. So if we want to get a bit technical, that is a very interesting question. You want to talk about that?
Is it more complicated to host on mobile and have a guest connection than it is to host on desktop and have a guest connection? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. So that's an interesting question, and it's not so much mobile as it is with how the application's designed. So the reason, like most apps that you see are free because all the work is done on the user's device. Right. So and that's why they won't bring in guests, because it's a lot for your phone to handle. Like your phone forming a peer-to-peer connection with another phone and doing I'm trying not to get too technical, but the part where you're changing the stream into a format that can get sent to Facebook, that's the very intense part of the process. And free apps often have that happening on your own device. Whereas the paid apps, they have, like StreamYard, we do that process so you can have a very low power device. So any application that is doing that stuff in the cloud, the processing in the cloud, it's not the guest hosting it's not a different experience. It's the same as if they were joining as a guest. Or I misphrased that. Hosting from a phone is the same as if you just joined as a guest on the phone. StreamYard.
It's the free fact that to have that all powered from the phone. The guest.
Yeah, it's where the processing is happening that complicates that process. And since we're doing that, as StreamYard's doing that on our own infrastructure, it makes it where it's not really any different.
Right. Now there are free apps that do it like desktop apps, and some of them do like a peer in, but that's not a broadcast app. So you're not dealing with streaming to the masses. You're just dealing with connecting two people like a phone call kind of.
And the peer in, the paid version does handle certain things on their infrastructure.
Right.
I'm sure there's some free apps that do actually do that, but most free apps will be like it's easy to make. If all the processing is happening on your own system, it doesn't cost really any money to run the app. So it's easy to make it free, right?
Right. Definitely. Let's bring John back in. Hey, John. Any questions you want to ask Geige or Dr. Finch?
Yeah, so I don't know if you know, I'm a software engineer. So if you ever need anything beta test or whatever, just let me know.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing it for 30-some years.
Wow, that's a while. It was much different scene 30 years ago. What kind of stuff were you doing 30 years ago?
God, my first computer was the Atari 800 XL. That was in 1979, 78, somewhere like that. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Cool.
Yep.
I remember I bought some neighbor's used Atari, and all you could do with it was like hit a little ball back and forth, like these two little sticks could hit a ball back and forth, and that was it. And then my first computer where you could type on and everything was an Apple IIc, in which I could play Dr. J against Larry Bird. One. It was like 3 dribbles and a shot. Then the other guy, 3 dribbles, like you're moving around and you shoot. That was it.
That took a lot of code to create that game.
And I had like a football game on my on like one of these little football games that you put a little battery in, and basically like you dance around the backfield until eventually you make all of them miss, and then you run for a touchdown. Like once you figure out how to do it, you can pretty much do it every time.
I really like the StreamYard and how it works. I told you, Jason, Rodrigue, and we use it for What Is Good podcast, and it's really easy to bring people in, and I love it.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I mean, I have, the audio is generally so good. I have to figure out what was going on with YouTube. YouTube's had some issues, I think, in recent.
Yeah, Google went down for a little bit a few days ago,
but usually I record on this mixer recorder interface, and since I've been using StreamYard, I don't always record because the audio that comes with the video that I download, typically from YouTube or Twitch, because it's a little higher quality usually than what you get on Facebook. It's so good that it's like podcast ready even without recording it locally.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. We're actually working on making that a bit better than it is now, because there is, the way we do it now, there is some compression. Like, I don't think it'll be, I mean, that's awesome to hear that it's as good enough for your podcast, but it's the state right now, it's not quite as good as what you would get if you just recorded it yourself. And we're working on adding some stuff that it truly will be as good as if you just recorded it. So hopefully that will please the audio file types even more.
Right. I know you were experimenting with audio settings at all. Have people made use of that, or is that just something you were testing for a little while?
Yeah, we still haven't actually added it in, but we did do some testing with that, and that is part of what we do plan on adding in, is sort of an advanced setting. So if everyone in your stream has headphones, we're able to do some different to process things a bit differently to make the audio sound better than it would is if you don't have to account for I don't want to get too technical on people, but if you don't have to account for like canceling out echo and things like that, you can get the audio quality higher. So that's one of the things we plan on adding. So if you know what you're doing, if you're like a podcaster and all your guests have headsets, you can really squeeze out better audio quality.
That's terrific. Yeah, I mean, using earbuds, using headsets and stuff really does make a difference when you have a bunch of people on. There's some people who know how to like engineer their whole setup so that they can use speakers. Maybe Aikyna's doing that now, and they don't get any echo. But when people try and do that and they haven't done it before, oh boy, it doesn't sound good.
Yeah, echo's no fun when it's, especially when it's someone that doesn't know what's happening. So it's just one person is hearing this horrible noise and the other person doesn't have any idea that there's even an issue.
Right.
Now, I've noticed that on Facebook lately, we've been getting a lot of echo. If we use StreamYard, does that cancel a lot of that out?
So when you say you've been going live on Facebook and getting echo with Facebook's native tool?
Right.
So I honestly don't know exactly how Facebook handles audio stuff. We do it completely differently. So maybe you'll have a better experience, maybe you won't, but it will certainly be a different experience. So I would experiment to see if your mileage is better with StreamYard, because we do handle it quite a bit differently than you would if you were just using their built-in tool.
Where do you keep your mic?
Where do I keep my mic?
I'm asking Aikyna because I'm just trying to see if I could think of like troubleshooting.
Oh yeah.
Well, so it happens usually when people invite me in, and I'm fine because I don't hear it. But then when they start talking, it's that. And so I'm wondering if their system can handle all of it, or because when I do a live, I don't have the problem. And so then I'll say, hey, why don't I do the live? And then you invite your people on, and then we won't have that problem. So, I'm wondering if it's bandwidth or something like that, or just equipment or what.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things it could be. It easily could be bandwidth. If you're saying it just sounds garbled and they're not actually getting echo, then that it very easily could be a bandwidth.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's a bandwidth issue.
Yeah, and then sometimes you get double, like that real deep double echo. Like every time they talk, that's all you hear is that echo. So but I'm thinking it's most likely bandwidth.
Well, if that one's happening, if you're clearly hearing echo, that one wouldn't be bandwidth. That one would be their speakers are really close to their mic, or it's just something is off with the setup. And I think most applications have it now where they try to cancel it out as much as you can. So if you happen to have good luck and that's working properly with the setup, it'll either cancel out really, like you'll hear it for a second and then it will go away, and you'll be fine, or you won't notice it at all. But sometimes it's just the speakers are so loud and the mic's so close that you're just hearing the echo there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the room can have an effect too, if depending on what you have there. Sometimes throwing some blankets down, or you don't have to put all that padding up and all that, but even having some blankets nearby and stuff can dim some of that sound. The other thing is, and people feel differently about this, but most people, when they're on video, they don't really want to have the mic in front of this close to them, right? But the closer you are to the mic, the better sound within reason, right? Up to about 3 fingers away is probably going to get you the best sound that you're going to get. Again, on TV, they don't use a mic like this, but they have very expensive lav mics and people with a boom, and they have studios that they've spent thousands of dollars treating and all that kind of stuff, which we don't have in our home. So if you use a mic that tends to reject noise rather than one that picks up extra noise, that's a big part of it. So it's, if you have like a mic, like a Yeti, it's knowing what to set it to cardioid rather than omnidirectional or bidirectional. So it will reject noise from everywhere other than the person speaking. Or you get a dynamic mic, which is like typically like this, or there's less expensive ones like the A2100 or the Samsung Q2U, and that's what people use in radio. They tend to use dynamic mics because you're ruffling papers, you're typing on your key, all that stuff, radio stations, talk shows and stuff. There's too much going on. You have guests here and there in the same room, and so they are made to reject noise that isn't right in front, which is, if I sat back from this, it wouldn't sound, if I did this, all right, I don't want to have this in my face, so I'm going to do that. It probably doesn't sound very good. And a lot of people are using mics that have a much stronger pickup than this, right? They're much more gain. And so you can sit back from them, but it doesn't mean that that's necessarily the ideal way, because I don't understand the dynamics of sound and all that, but I do know that some mics deaden it more than others. And, a mic like this, you got to crank it up on your gain so that you can be heard. But that's good because it's rejecting a lot of other noise.
So I know that some of my ladies are watching, and so I want to make sure, because I'm definitely going to recommend StreamYard after this experience, definitely. So is there some, of course, Geige, no problems. And so is there some things that we need to do to, especially for my newbie ladies, that is going to make StreamYard more effective?
Sure. The basics are the most important. So just making sure you have decent lighting will go a long way. Like Ross said, like if you have a nice microphone, that's great. But you're just eliminating the possibility of things going wrong, I think, is always a good idea. So if you don't mind wearing a headset, it's not a bad idea, just because reverb isn't going to happen if everyone's wearing a headset. So it's not a bad idea to just go ahead and do that. But no, we've tried to make things pretty simple, right? So I think they'll be surprised if they just jump on and try doing a test stream. To get comfortable, I'd probably try connecting like a private group or a YouTube channel, and then make it an unlisted stream, and then just try going live to a private group or an unlisted stream and just get comfortable. Check how your video looks on YouTube, and just get a sense for how everything works. And I think that's all you really need to do, and they'll have a pretty good experience.
Mike is going to join us. Brigetti was in the chat. If she can just refresh and come back in, check her settings. because when I put it up, I did not see any video. I don't know if you guys saw.
I didn't see it.
But
I didn't see any video either.
that happened earlier with that happened with Mike actually.
Did it?
Yeah. So welcome. Well, Mike Allton, who was on earlier, but Mike,
Oh, okay.
welcome. Thanks for joining us. Did you want to ask a question to Geige or Dr. Finch?
No, I just have a minute. It's my wife's birthday, but I wanted to jump on. I saw you had this, and is it so Geige is the CEO, StreamYard?
Yes.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Mike.
Okay, nice to meet you. Because I kind of missed all the introductions and that, but I just want to jump on and say thanks. And I used it. I started streaming just a couple of weeks ago, and I did set up OBS and all of that. And like I said, I have an old computer and it kind of like froze up. And then the next week I did Google Hangouts, and I didn't really like the way, when you had a couple of guests, everybody's icon, whoever started speaking, it would, jump back and forth. And that gets a little discombobulating to me. But I think I saw somebody was using StreamYard, and they said it was pretty easy to use. And I set that up, and we started streaming a little thing where we have a bunch of creators come in and all hang out and talk all things YouTube. And we had it set up like this, and there were 6 of us, and we were on there like 3 hours, just talking and yakking, and the whole thing goes off without a hitch.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much for checking it out.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm gonna keep on using it, but we're trying to help other creators too, like small creators. So I was trying to find something that was easy, because I know how to set up like OBS and Streamlabs and that, but some people who are new, they don't know how, and they still want to stream, and just offering something that's even you're free. I'm up to the paid level, so that I can put the overlays and that on and branding. But just even the free level, it's cool for somebody to start. And
yeah,
so,
absolutely. Just to get into live streaming, absolutely.
Yep.
Awesome.
So yeah, not really any question. I just want to jump on and say thanks, and that it's been helping
really nice.
out.
I'm glad I think I actually caught. I don't remember how I came across it, but I think someone linked me your like you have a bunch of YouTubers on the show, and you sort of talk about your channels and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. We had 6 people at a time. It's pretty cool.
Right on. What's the name of the channel again?
That we're doing the Creator Spotlight Show.
Creator Spotlight Show. Cool.
Yeah, he's really helping the community out, Geige.
Oh,
yeah, that's
appreciate
fantastic.
that, John.
Yeah. Welcome, Brigetti. Now the video is working, so we're up to 6 people now. Geige, do you think this is the best layout for 6 people, or?
Yeah, I like this layout. Yeah, I usually use this layout just because you can show a background type of thing. But yeah, you could try the other one, see how it looks.
Hey, Brigetti, so what time is it where you're at?
It is, oh my goodness, I didn't realize what the time was. It's 2:20 a.m.
Oh wow!
Well, thanks for staying up. Thanks for joining us.
Oh my goodness, I've been dying to have the guest experience myself, because when you're producing, you're always on the other side. But I always like to know what the guest experience is, because you can better explain it to people. Although I must say, my guests, from what they've told me, they've had a great experience. And I often have people who's never ever been on a live stream before. One of my shows is interviewing authors, and a lot of them have done podcasts, for example. So they're used to that kind of interview, but they've never done this kind. They've never been on a live stream before, a lot of them. And one of the things that I've enjoyed a lot about StreamYard is I have now created an intro video for all my guests. And it's usually a surprise for them. I don't tell them about it. And when they see that, they're kind of like, wow, you just see their eyes pop. And it somehow just relaxes them, because now they feel that, this is something that was done especially for them. Now, I had a guest on the other day who, generally when you're in most people I've had authors, they interview very easily. They chat, and you usually got to say to them, okay, we're running out of time now, got to cut this short. But I listened to a few of her interviews. She's a young lady. I listened to a few of her interviews, And I noticed that, she was the kind of person that gave one sentence answers to questions. And I thought, okay, this is going to be challenging, because I noticed the trends for all her interviews were roughly the same. And I said to her, look, we've got to do a pre-interview. And I decided that I was going to show her interview while we were doing the pre-interview. Well, she was blown away. She absolutely loved it. And her interview turned out beautifully. I mean, it was just because she was so relaxed. And after the interview, she couldn't thank me enough. So I really wanted to say how much I am valuing the ability to do these little intros.
Yeah, wow, that's super cool.
How that has affected my guests.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll have to try that out more often. I remember when we interviewed, we had Linda on our weekly town hall show, and we made one for her, and I definitely saw on her face how excited she was. So yeah, it is cool to sort of surprise your guests with, that's what's nice about those like those sort of video generating softwares. That there's so many of them now, like Wave.video and like Biteable and those types of things. It's pretty easy to just like plug a picture in, and you have like this sort of custom video for someone you might be having on, and then can just sort of surprise them with that. So yeah, that's a really cool story.
Yeah, it's so nice, like when you can provide a good experience to your guest, because especially when you're using the platform for business, it's part of building relationships and part of, building trust with people and showing what value you can provide. And so if you provide a really good guest experience, or you surprise them, or it might just be promoting them or giving them an opportunity to shine in a different way, that's awesome. I mean, I remember when I go on shows or go to events, and you're treated well. You remember those things, and so I think that's a wonderful, wonderful touch, Brigitte.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without
absolutely, I love it. It's and the ease of use for me.
Yeah, without getting too technical, Tim had a question. He said, "How does the telephone call in work?" I know
right. So that's not built into the program, right? You kind of have to do that on your own. But if you're an adventurous person, it's not that complex to set up. So the easiest way, I think, would be to have. I think most people are probably familiar with something like Google Voice. Like with Google Voice, you can sort of get a free telephone number. So you could, in another tab, open up Google Voice and then share that tab and take calls in from Google Voice, and then show basically the call-in number using a banner on StreamYard, and then sort of do a call-in show that way, which I've seen a few people do, which was pretty cool. And then you could also use those software mixers like Voice Meter or Loopback and do the same type of thing. Basically, the technical term is like VoIP telephone number, and then you just sort of can get them to call in that way.
Has anybody messed around with any of those sort of like digital jukebox apps on their phone or on computer, where you can play little jingles, or you could play little sound clips, and you line them up, sort of like a radio station had their carts in the old days, but now it's a sort of a virtual. Have you guys played around with any of those?
Personally, I haven't. No.
Yeah, I want to look into something like that. I mean, not that like this type of show it's really necessary, but if I'm on solo, or I'm doing just like a free-flowing talk show or something like that, it might be fun to have some different music and different, load up some sound clips and things like that.
I've seen podcasters do it with that Roadcaster thing. I think is pretty popular. So I've seen some people plug that thing into StreamYard and then do their podcast intro and jingles that way.
If you have you got the Stream Deck, Rose?
No, I don't.
You have X keys?
I don't.
Okay.
I could use
it. It has the capability to assign audio files or whatever to a particular key, and you can actually set up a playlist and play it if you want music to play in the background with a certain volume.
Is Stream Deck what you were talking about earlier when you said you use it with a mobile? Did you say you used it in the chat with a mobile in order that you don't have?
No, that was I forget who was making that comment, but yeah, that was on the iPad. And there is a version of Stream Deck that you can buy for an iPhone that'll integrate directly into OBS over Wi-Fi. So you
But
don't
the
need to
idea is
actually
it's
have
like a
them.
little hardware device that you use, and then you key in.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be trying to do it with your mouse and.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to divert your mouse. You want to keep your mouse on the critical buttons, like being able to switch scenes within StreamYard.
Especially like when like I talk with my hands, and then I've got to get my hand back to the mouse, and the mouse to the thing that I've got to switch. When I used to do those updates where I'd go from card to card to card and be like, oh, whoa, okay.
Well, Roz, Stream Deck has got an app now, so you don't have to buy the device. So you basically can use the app on your and iPhone. But I've just downloaded it on my iPhone, and I'm dying to use it. So what you talking about?
So it's like $2.99 a month, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, I gotta check that out. Do they give you a free trial? Like, can you play?
I'll take a look right now.
I think there is a free trial for 3 days. There's a trial for 3 days.
That sounds like fun. That sounds like something to play around with this weekend. Well, this is awesome. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Geige and Dr. Finch for staying on and hanging out with us for over an extra half an hour. And John, Brigetti, Mike, appreciate you guys so much for watching, sharing it out, and joining us. And hey, everybody, have a great weekend. We still got Friday, but I'm already trying to think ahead to
all right. Nice meeting everyone. And
yeah, thanks for having me on. It was super nice to meet all of you.
Yeah,
likewise.
Thanks everybody
very much.
And thanks, Chuck, for joining us. Thanks, Arthur. Thanks, Diana. Brad joined us in the post show. We appreciate people who came over for the post show. It's always fun hanging out with everybody. And I'll be back next week, Thursday, for Brand on Broadcasting. We've got a good lineup for you. Look for that coming up next week. Same time, same channels. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.
Wow.